most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this, what is today, the 5th day of June. Going to go over the NBA Finals. Going to talk about that. Got some great sound bites from that. Also, got there is a Colts player. I think it's Isaiah Rodgers, the starting cornerback, is being investigated for gambling. He could get a year-long suspension. We'll talk about that as well. Kyrie Irving and LeBron. There's been rumors of them wanting to hook up and go to Dallas together. I'll talk about how absurd that would be. Also, Skip and Shannon. I've been wanting to talk about this story since last week, but I got, busy doing there's other big stories. The Undisputed breakup. I'll play some soundbite, and it's not all Skip Bayless. Shannon Sharpe is going through a little bit of a midlife crisis, in my opinion. All that and more. We'll go ahead and get our first and only break out of the way, and I'll be back here in 49 seconds here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then, I'm back here live. Now, I'll say this, judging by that 10-2 start that Miami got started on, very, very quick analogy here. Just a instant reaction. Just looking at that first few minutes, I thought to myself, Denver's got to realize that Miami's not going to give them this game. And if I'm Mike Malone, that's what I'm telling. I said, listen, they're not going to give you this series. We understand you've got a two-time MVP there on your team. You've got the number one seed. You're playing a team that historically has went on the road. Every odd is stacked against the Miami Heat. You're not entitled to this game. You're going to have to fight these guys tooth and nails. Like my dad used to say and stuff in life, you've got to take it. They're not going to hand gift you this. Listen to, and I'm seeing, it's what I like about this coach for the Nuggets. I'm seeing it just the way he is saying it. Listen to what he said just after the game, Mike Malone, on you're going to have to earn this thing. This is not gift wrapped. This is not like that.
That's a huge concern. Brandon Kristoff from KOA here in Denver. Can you kind of, figure out why do you think your starters that weren't Joker struggled scoring, I guess?
Well, I don't think that's the biggest question. Now, let's talk about effort. I mean, this is the NBA Finals, and we're talking about effort. That's a huge concern of mine. And you guys probably thought I was just making up some storyline after game one when I said we didn't play well. We didn't play well. And tonight, that the starting lineup to start the game was 10-2 Miami. Start the third quarter, they scored 11 points in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And we just got, we had guys out there that were just, whether feeling sorry for themselves for not making shots or thinking they can just turn it on or off. This is not the preseason. This is not the regular season. It's not round. This is the NBA Finals. And that to me is really, really perplexing, disappointing. And I asked the team, I asked our players, you guys tell me why we lost. And they knew the answer. Miami came in here and outworked us. And we were by far our least disciplined game of these 16 or 17 playoff games, whatever it is now. So many breakdowns. And they exploited every one of those breakdowns and scored. So if we're going to try to go down there and regain control of this series and get home court advantage back, we're going to have to outwork Miami, which we didn't do tonight, and our discipline's going to have to be off the charts.
Yeah, and he really, that's not coach talk. That's not coach speak from Mike Malone there. This Miami team, mind you, folks, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They were in the finals back in 2020. They got put out by the eventual champions the year before last. This is the same group of guys: Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Bam, and of course Jimmy Butler. They're used to being in dogfights. You know, they are not your typical 8 seed, and that's something that he's got to pound in these guys' head. All right, and you know, it's one of those things where when you got a guy like a Duncan Robinson, he's a role player. You know, Duncan Robinson is a role player, but there's so much confidence in this team. Role players usually don't shoot the ball that well on the road. He missed one shot all night. He had 10 points, but he was 2 for 3 from 3. You know, and a lot of that came right at the start of the fourth quarter. So, you know, it's just they're not going to give it to you. They out-hustled these guys. And listen to what Jimmy and this idea is not just a theory. It's turning into a thing where if you let Joker just do all the scoring, he had 41. Each time he's been the highest scorer, they've lost in the game. He only had 4 assists. It's the Steve Nash 2006, 2007 treatment where when he was going through his MVP years, well, they'll just say, we're not going to let him get other people involved. We'll let Steve Nash get 45, 50 points, and we'll beat him. We'll run the offenses to him, and we'll get him in a defensive liability situation. We'll wear him down. We'll give him open shots, and everybody else he'll eventually miss, and we'll get the rebounds. That's what essentially happened here. And plus what Coach said, listen, they're just flat out hustling us. So somebody asked, oh God, the Miami Heat host, Eric Spoelstra, about it. And listen to what he says. He's not trying to let the cat out of the bag, but we know what the deal is. And I'm trying to get his quote here, and we'll play it real quick. There's so much stuff I have sound here that I'm really just getting off Twitter because it makes it. Here's Eric Spoelstra after the game.
Teams play against Jokic. You turn him into a scorer, you turn him into a passer, and he controls the game. He only had 4 assists tonight.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. You know, it's just that's the untrained eye that says something like that. This guy's an incredible player. You know, twice in 2 seasons he's been the best player on this planet. You can't just say, oh, make him a scorer. That's not how they play. They have so many different actions that just get you compromised. We have to focus on what we do. You know, we try to do things the hard way, and he requires you to do many things the hard way.
He's just saying that because he don't want the cat out of the bag. Well, the cat's already out of the bag. The cat's running around all over the place. And Draymond Green's got an interesting podcast. He had Steve Kerr on. And if you're watching this from a coaching perspective, Corey, you know, Jamal Murray, I knew once he's back healthy again, Jamal Murray plays off Joker the way that Tony Parker would play off Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan didn't win anything. They could not beat. Yeah, they beat the Knicks in 99. I mean, that's kind of a throwaway season. But they couldn't beat those powerhouse Laker teams until they had the proper guard play around Tim Duncan, mainly Tony Parker and, of course, Manu Ginobili off the bench there. So listen to Steve Kerr break this down on Draymond Green's podcast, talking about cutting the head off the snake. because if anybody's watched these playoffs with Jamal Murray, he's the guy, the straw that turns, that makes this thing go. Now, it's off of Joker. We know what Joker's got. But Joker running that high pick and roll, very similar to the way Tim Duncan and Tony Parker or Ginobili would run it, and they run it to perfection. And I like what Steve Kerr said. This was earlier this morning, or late last night, I guess. Draymond Green talking to Steve Kerr about this on his podcast.
You mentioned them starting Love. That allowed Jimmy Butler to guard Murray.
Jimmy Butler on Murray.
To me, it was like, I haven't talked to Spo or anything like that, but I can see them in their coaches meetings saying Murray's the head of the snake.
Yeah.
Not Jokic. Like if you just look at it, you go, well, Jokic is the head of the snake. But when you play a team, you sort of realize, wait a second, like that guy's he's gonna dominate no matter what we do. So this is the head of the snake, and I think they just decided Murray's the guy we got to stop. So you start Love, put Jimmy Butler on Murray, and then you saw like they were blitzing Murray quite a bit and really trying everything to take him out of the game.
And what you do is you run around all over the place like you're Steph Curry, and he's just going to have to get open, and they're going to have to run a pick at. It's got to be legal, in air quotes, legal. You got to be able to sell it. They're going to have to run a pick at Jimmy Butler and get him off stride and find a way to get Murray open. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to be fine. Also, from my observation, when you've got a 6'10" Pickles, Michael Porter out there, and you got a 6'11" Joker out there, Michael Porter does not need to be at the three-point line. You're going to have to put him inside. Okay, say I'm looking at you all, and you all are the basketball goal here. Okay, and I'm at the free throw line. You put Porter on the right, and he can't stay it. And there's a 5-second violation. You can't stand there in the paint. And you put a Joker on the left there, and then you run the offense around there. You've got to dominate. Even though they did win on the boards, you've got to dominate this team on the boards. This team is faster than Denver. And how do you beat a team that's fast? You make them work harder. If you're a bigger team, you make them work harder. How do you make them work harder? Second, third chance points. Get the ball to your speedy guys. And get Michael Porter off that three-point line. I know this is 2023 NBA. And what you do is, what's the head of their snake? We know what Jimmy Butler is. To me, guys, it's Bam. It's Bam Adebayo. He's getting clean looks. He's getting great play on the defensive side. You do the same for them. You make Butler work that hard, who his points have went down, and you make others beat you, and you get Bam in foul trouble. They have no bigs other than, what's the guy's name, Zeller, or whatever his name is, Cody Zeller. They're using guys like him. That's a big drop-off from Bam. You get Bam, and listen, Bam's only 6'9". He's playing good, though. He's playing good for a guy. He's playing bigger than a 6'9". But Bam, believe it or not, to me, just watching the game, he's their Jamal Murray. Even though he's probably not getting all the points all the time. He is their Jamal Murray. Miami's well coached. They're showing importance of top-level coach. Yeah, that's what never fails. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. Denver's players are going to have to grow up and grow a spine. Yeah, they're going to have to out-hustle these guys. I would run the clock down. Play fast, but don't get in a hurry. Pickle says he's a dope. You could foul him out. Crash the boards and block out. Yeah, so here's the stat line here. And I like what that was good analysis. Steve Kerr can get on my nerves sometimes, but that was really well said by Steve Kerr, I would say, actually. I have to give him credit there. Okay, now, and you look at this plus minus, the highest on the board, obviously Vincent, but Bam is right there with 17. Bam, his is way up there, close to the top, just about every game here. And you look at guys like Brown and Green; theirs were in the positive. Michael Porter Jr. minus 15. Caldwell Pope minus 14. Michael Porter Jr.'s got to step up and play better if you are a Denver Nuggets fan. He's got to get inside. He's got to get inside around that charity stripe. He's got to be pretty close to the opposite side of the Joker. Did you win the game or did they lose the game on making shots? And I'll say this. They shot the ball very well. They shot the ball. And let's go ahead. Okay, from three, they shot 48%. Shot 48% from three, 39 from Denver. Denver just did not get that many good shots off, if you ask me. And they still almost won the game. Denver had 48 to 34 points in the game. That's got to be about 56. 56 to about 26. You say, why can it be that? Well, when you got a 6'8" Aaron Gordon there, you got a 6'11". These guys are all in their prime too. 6'11" Joker. You got a 6'10" Michael Porter against guys that are not even close. Bam is 6'9". He's their center. You got him going against guys 6'6", 6'7", and 6. So they're playing above their. They're playing. Barkley's 6'4". They're playing like a Barkley as far as boxing out and getting rebounds, and they still got beat in the paint. Like I said, they got out rebounded, but the margin, because Miami has got such team chemistry, because they got good ball movement, because they're shooting, because they've got the speed edge, folks. They've got the speed edge. How do? You make guys work harder for the ball, and you hold the ball longer, and you run that clock down and make them run around all over the place and don't fall into their trap. I'm telling you, it's Bam. Bam is their equal. Bam is their Jamal Murray. Bam is Miami's Jamal Murray. And Jamal and like he said, I saw this in every series that Denver's played in. It is Jamal Murray. He's their difference maker. You know, we know what the joke, like Steve Kerr said, we know what Joker is. So they're going to have to work harder to get him open. And on the flip side, try to get Bam in foul trouble, which you can get. There was a lot of questionable calls in this game. There was a Bam also. He had I think it was, I don't know who, I can't remember who it was. It was either Brown. It was either Brown or Jamal Murray had that little floater, and Bam knocked it out of the way. That was not a block. That was a goaltend. This was a 3-point game. That could have changed the duration of this last shot. Instead of trying to tie it with a 3, you could have won it with a 2, if that. But, hey, this team's playing like they've already won the championship. Just like Michael Malone said, I still think they'll probably win this thing in 6, but I do not think it's going to be easy, you know. And Kevin Love, he's not going to get you 6 points and 10 rebounds every game in 22 minutes. But Gabe Vincent, I mean, the guy shot 4 from 6 from 3. Strauss was 4 for 10. You can't shoot like that every game. And a lot of that is you're switching on your defense, ball watching instead of player watching. He's going to have to adjust on that. This is Michael Malone. But, hey, the team that won, they are playing to their strengths. They're not putting everything on one player. When you've got a guy like a Duncan Robertson with 17 quality minutes, you know, like I said, this Vincent, Strauss, and Butler, I mean, he had 21 points, 4 assists, and 4. He didn't have no crazy game. They're just using their team concept. But a lot of these guys have been with this team for a number of years, and they're playing their role, and they're winning the game. So you got to give credit to them. But it's a lot of mental errors that Denver's making right now. And quite frankly, they're just reading their press clippings. You know, they thought they had this game won because they ran off. And you know what? They should have never gave up that 15-point lead. They should have never gave up that 15-point lead at the end of the third quarter. But like I said, I'm still picking them to win this game. Listen to one more soundbite here. Let's see. I think I got one. Here is Jimmy Butler after the game.
You guys are on. I just think nobody. What is it about this specific team that makes them so resilient, especially in this run that you guys are on?
I just think nobody cares on our team. We're not worried about what anybody thinks. We're so focused in on what we do well and who we are as a group that at the end of the day, that's what we fall back on. Make or miss shots, we're going to be who we are because we're not worried about anybody else. That's how it's been all year long, and that's not going to change. So that's what I think it is. I think it's the I don't give a damn factor.
Yeah, now he's talking about not having this team smell the roses and realize what kind of crazy run they're on because they may rest on their laurels. The Heat gave up a 40 to 14 run in game 2 and still won that game. You know? So it's Denver is just simply playing turn it on, turn it off switch, and that's how you get beat, man. That's how you get beat. They thought that they had the game won because they haven't lost a home playoff game in all these playoffs. And then they realized they're fighting a street fighter here that ain't got nothing to lose. They've been there before. They're playing on house money. He doesn't want to say that. But there was a stat here that I screenshotted that says this is all-time stuff at what they're doing. Miami's 13 wins are the most by an 8 seed in a single season postseason. The previous record was, again, 98-99-12 by the New York Knicks. So they're doing all-time stuff. So they're not trying – he's not wanting the people, the other players to smell that coffee. He's saying, wait a minute. We still keep your head down. We got 3 more to go. And that's good stuff there. Good stuff. Denver – Pickle says Denver is in a dogfight. They need to come out in game 3 and punch Miami in the mouth. Yeah, pound it inside. Michael Porter Jr., stay in the low post. Stay and get Bam in foul trouble. You got him. Get Bam in foul trouble. Hustle on loose balls. You don't have to do too much. You got one of the smartest players in the game. He's a bigger version of LeBron and sometimes Joker. And you do that, you got these guys. But they are not going to quit on you. They're not going to roll over. They're not resting on their laurels, the fact that they made it to the finals. And if this don't wake up Denver, nothing will. Okay. All righty then. Switching gears. That was an interesting story here on Kyrie trying to recruit LeBron to Dallas. This was out of the Atlantic. Could he possibly get the Athletic, excuse me. Could he possibly get traded there? Could they work out something in the offseason? Could LeBron get traded if he even stays to the Dallas Mavericks and play? The Athletic says it's doable, but not likely. It's doable, but not probable. They can handle a sign and trade for Kyrie Irving. It says the Lakers can create upwards of $30 billion to $35 million in cap space this summer to sign Irving or observe Irving's salary in a sign and trade from Dallas. And then you ask yourself, well, what would they have to give up to trade LeBron or to trade Irving to Dallas? Possibly a Tim Hardaway, Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, and the number 10th pick. And then, of course, obviously, if Dallas would offer Luka, that ain't going to happen for LeBron, who's on the last leg. Just say they did play together. You know, mind you, Kyrie, you never know when he's going to show up. You never know when he's going to play defense. He walked away. Now, LeBron got the best out of him. But remember, he walked away from LeBron. He walked away from quit on Boston. He quit/walked away on the Nets. That would be crazy. Could LeBron and Luka play together? Yeah, I think so. Listen to what LeBron said a few years ago about Luka Doncic.
The way I play the game is exactly how Luka is one of my favorite players in the NBA today. From the simple fact of the way I play the game is exactly how I love the way he plays the game. Team first, gets his guys involved. If you challenge me to score, I'm going to score. And at the same time, I'm going to score. And also, at the same time, I'm going to keep my guys involved. But I play for the team, and I'm going to play with a sense of joy. When Luka was going through his contract negotiations with Nike, and you saw him at one point, he was wearing Jordans. He started wearing the other brands.
Other brands, you don't even say
Yeah, I don't say the other
So
brands.
good at that.
He was wearing the other brands on his feet during practices and that notion. I wanted to begin Team LeBron and have Luka as my first signing with Nike.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Luka was money. I think that was in 2020. Now, mind you, Luka's averaging 36 points a game. He's a catch and shoot guy. He can play. He can have the ball in his hands. He can catch and shoot. He can do it all. He can pass like LeBron. Ideally, you would love to see them two play together. 6 years ago, LeBron 6 years ago, Luka now, that would be money. LeBron now, LeBron's good for about 15, 20 minutes of great LeBron basketball, and then he's going to be holding his foot, So that's just ludicrous. I think it's crazy talk. I mean, it's been a popping story today. I wouldn't want Kyrie, and then the Lakers basically said they don't want Kyrie. I think Kyrie's going to get in. He's finally getting what he's been coming to him. Is you keep on letting people down, letting teammates down, walking out on people. People, you're not going to get the royal treatment. You're post 30. Now Luka, on the other hand, something can happen there. I just don't know what. They do have that 10th pick. Would you put an Anthony Davis with him? I don't know. He's a guy that players can play off of him. I know that LeBron would probably find a way to work up there, but I just don't see it happening. Pickle says all in and with LA to retirement. I think he's going to retire. Like I said the other day, I think LeBron's going to retire this year. I think he's going to wait till after the finals, and just Ja Morant thing, it's going to go down after the finals too. He's going to get suspended. We don't know how long. And then LeBron, I think he's going to retire. Now, he might not. He might run it back one more year with the Lakers and maybe add a piece or so. But if I'm the Lakers, the only way I take a guy like Kyrie, if I don't have to trade anything for him and he comes in dirt cheap, where I don't have to get rid of an Austin Reeves or a Raul type of guy, and you want to keep your core there. I mean, you could do away with D'Angelo Russell, who's been a total bust with him. But if he's just replacing Russell, comes in dirt cheap without any strings attached, yeah, you could probably keep him like that. But you have to start minimizing his role. That's the thing. He's not a 1, he's not a 2. He's really like a high-end role player at this point in his career. If he wants to go on one of his hiatuses or whatever, like who was it? What's the guy's name? The rebounding machine. Dennis Rodman did with Michael Jordan in The Last Dance and all that. If he wants to do that, yeah, that's fine. But he can't be a centerpiece of a team. He can't even be one of the top 2 pieces of a team and go on a hiatus like that. Now, if he's a role player, he could go on a hiatus. It's not going to hurt the team that much. But you know. And Pickle says Trae Young. So something's going to happen with Atlanta and Trae Young. The Knicks may go after Trae Young. Maybe Dallas goes after Trae Young with that 10th pick, right? Right. One of those teams that really need that extra score. This Miami team could use a Trae Young, you know. Well, what you see in Miami last night is the problem. The reason why Miami's got 44 wins is they can't get that consistent play out of players for 82 games. That's the problem with Miami. You know, and Jimmy Butler admitted, hey, I kind of pace, in air quotes, a lot during the regular season. You know, Butler's 33 years old. He's not getting any younger either. I digress. All righty then. Switching gears. What story should I go to next? Who could it be now? Dun, 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 dun. Okay. The Colts. You got another gambling investigation, folks. Let me make sure I got this name. This guy's name dropped about 20 minutes ago that they're finally reporting who he is. And he's more than just a player. He's their starting corner. Isaiah Rodgers, Sr. for the Indianapolis Colts is being investigated for gambling. And he could get anywhere from a few games to a year suspension from what I'm reading here. Probing into Isaiah Rodgers possibly betting. Let's see if I have some more information on this thing here. The Colts player appears to have made wagers throughout an account opened by an acquaintance. Pickles, go figure. Everybody's got a family member. Opened by an acquaintance of sports. The source noted Sports Handle has not been able to independently verify if the player placed any wagers during or on his team during the 2022 season, although the player is not considered a superstar. Like I said, this is an older report. Indiana Gaming Commission Deputy Director Jenny Receipt told Sports Handle Monday that IGC is looking into potential violations by the Colts player. I can confirm that we've received information pertaining to this matter and looking into the developments. Listen, guys. Yes, the league, again, it is hypocritical to have DraftKings, FanDuel, gambling sites, MGM Bet, all in bed with the NFL. And the Athletic, they also made an interesting they did a report here on anonymous players. And one anonymous player said this about, he said, the question was, how much is social gambling a part of the locker room culture? This player says there's a specific niche of people in the locker room. Some of these guys are just so bleeping rich that they need to burn some money. No kids, no family. You're making $2 or $3 million a year, and you get that money all at once. Then your alma mater team is playing, and it's like, hey, let's put 10 grand on it. So you're looking at a guy, 23, 24, 25 years old. And I want to say Jim Jeffcoat told me that they get these paychecks on like Tuesday after the game. And you get this direct deposit check for like $168, whatever they're making, $68,000. And you get done with practice early on a Wednesday or a Thursday when the injury report's out. And look at it this way. And players are probably doing this, but we don't know. But for FanDuel, for example, folks, FanDuel, you could say, okay, Trayvon Burks, for example, he plays for Tennessee, Titans receiver. The odds is minus 260 that he gets 5 catches, okay? And this guy knows that he's part of the game plan. This is where you could set up rigging, right? He knows that he's part of the game plan. He's going to get a lot of underneath curl routes or screen passes in this particular game. he can go and have a family member put $10,000, $11,000 on him getting these catches, or you can do a yardage thing. If it's saying, man, my over and under is 79 yards, I'm going to get 150 today because they've got a busted cornerback here, and my other receivers banged up. I'm going to be a big part of the game plan today, so I'm going to get so-and-so to put these – that's what they're betting on, trust me. Just common sense, because I play a lot of this, Pickles, with FanDuel. And why not make we get the win, but also I get a $149,000 check coming in from my FanDuel deposit. So you say, well, that sounds a little much. Calvin Ridley only wagered like $1,500. That's of what we know. Acquaintance doing it. 2 or 3 people removed. You give them a tip. They have to pay the taxes on it. But then again, you get to keep the money and you have inside information. I'm saying this is a possibility. I'm surprised. And I'm telling you, it's probably happened pretty rapidly, but you're removing it so many people, it's hard to trace it back to the player. Now, if you're dumb enough, and what Ridley was, to put your own name in one of these apps, that's on you. If you want to risk a whole year's salary, it just ain't worth it. Pickle says, too much money involved, not enough to have cheating on gamblers. Well, yeah. If you know that you are a part of the game plan, Pickles, and you know what kind of catches you're going to get, and a lot of them are going to be underneath catches, I mean, you can bet on yourself all day. Now, all this being talked about, maybe FanDuel does away with those prop bets, But then again, suckers like me every day who never have luck at that. I've had some, but not those prop bets, those parlays. They look so easy. And then you come up just short on that third or fourth leg of that in-game parlay. I said this. It hasn't become public yet. I've got a hunch that Pat McAfee has taken less money to go from like 30 million to 17 to go to ESPN because he didn't want to plug those in-game parlays anymore for FanDuel because he realized that you're very unlikely to hit those in-game parlays. And he had to play them and promote them constantly to earn that. That was probably part of his contract, earn that $30 million. Well, players don't see it that way. Players say, hey, look, man, if I can drop 10 grand, no problem. I know what I'm going to catch this week. I know what they got this week. I'm just betting on myself. And that's insider trading. That's insider trade. So if you put a whole lot of money on that, you can mess the odds up for everyday Joe like me and you betting on the game. I wouldn't want to fool with it if I'm making their kind of money because I know gambling really don't pay off. I mean, it's fun, but the average bet's $4. The average bet's $4. These agents have a line of credit for players, so there's a way to do it where you remove 2 or 3 people away. You have to probably pay the tip, and then you pay the taxes. But these players, in their mind, they think that money is going to be here all the time. And I'm sure this stat is better, but the last I checked, about 80% of players go broke in the NFL within 2 years after being out of the league. Now, I couldn't imagine doing that because I realize what it's like to be poor, but I'm older, though. I'm not 22 and getting all this money thinking it's all going to come at me like this all the time, not thinking about an injury, taxes, and all that other nonsense. So this guy, he's their starting corner, Pickles. Isaiah Rodgers is the guy that's being investigated. He's the starting corner on the left side. I had the Colts winning between 6 and 7 games anyway. So, no autopsy, no foul there. Not unless it turns into a bigger issue. of that nature. Okay, there was another story that has been talked about. Now, this goes back to last week, but I simply did not get a chance to talk about it. Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. They're supposedly done after the finals. That's the Undisputed show that comes on FS1. You know, Sharpe's like 55 years old. Remember, he was on NFL Today for a while after he got out of the league. You know, it's a 3-time winner and Super Bowl winner. Shannon Sharpe, Hall of Famer. And there's been some blow-ups. They had 2 blow-ups last year that I did not think were what do you call it, shtick or whatever, or just kind of putting on the show. I think these guys really kind of tired of each other. And here's one blow-up happened during the Damar Hamlin situation, and Skip Bayless put out a comment about it. Very callous, very cold. Bayless puts out a tweet. He said, after Damar Hamlin, remember he had the Monday Night Football, Pickles were, the Buffalo Bill had the heart attack on the field. I thought he was there. I called my dad. I said, man, you think this guy's dead, man? He said, yeah, I do. I said, yeah, he's probably, and we were all thinking that at the time. And so Skip Bayless says it would be a tough to cancel, because they were talking about canceling the game because of the playoff implications. Remember, this was at Buffalo, Cincinnati. This was possibly over the 1 seed. He said, no doubt the NFL is considered postponing the rest of the game. But how, Bayless says, very callous. I mean, that's just after it comes up that they're doing CPR on Hamlin. So Shannon Sharpe totally gets irritated with that. Tuesday, don't even show up to work Tuesday. And this is what happened afterwards. Let's listen to my soundbite here, make sure I've got the right one, because I got 2 of them. But listen, here's one where he really gets off the
At Amica, we provide you
stupid commercial here. We'll play it here in just a second, folks.
Yes, Shannon, I understand. It's something you want to share this morning.
Good morning. Yes. Good morning. There's been a lot of speculation of why I wasn't on air yesterday, and I won't get into speculation or conjecture, innuendo, but I will say this. Watching that game on Monday night, what happened to Damar Hamlin struck me a little different. As a brotherhood in the NFL, when injuries happen, when we know injuries are a part of the game, I've seen guys suffer ACLs and Achilles tear, but I've never seen anybody have to be revived and fight for their life on the field. So they struck me a little differently, because I remember seeing my brother paralyzed on the field temporarily, and he was able to regain focus. Skip tweeted something, and although I disagree with the tweet, and hopefully Skip would take it down, but I didn't want it.
Well, time out. I'm not going to take it down, because I stand by what I tweeted.
Skip, let me
finish.
All right. Okay. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Go ahead. Let's go, Jen.
Okay.
I mean, I cannot even get through a monologue without you interrupting me.
Well,
you could have came back, Skip.
Well, I thought,
Skip, just let.
I didn't know you were going to bring up.
No, I was just going to say, Skip, I didn't want to yesterday to get into a situation where Damar Hamlin was the issue. We should have been talking about him and not get into your tweet. That's what I was going to do. But you can't even let me finish my opening monologue without you interrupting.
Okay. I was under the impression you weren't going to bring this up, because nobody here had a problem with that tweet.
No. Clearly, the bosses wanted you to offer explanations. So clearly, somebody.
No, they did not have. Nobody.
Let's go, Jen.
Thoughts and prayers remain with Damar Hamlin.
That awkward pause there. And, this poor lady that's narrating the game, to be frank, she looks like she's about half stoned half the time. She's got her eyes, squinted up. What's she going to do between them two if they ever got into it anyway? She's probably 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing. It was very awkward, Corey, to say the least. But, that Skip Bayless is about 75 years old. He's been around, like my dad would say, since Hitler was a corporal. He's non-threatening. He's a bit of a callous, cold guy. My thing is, I think that Shannon Sharpe, we talked about him getting into it with John Morant's dad, kind of made a fool out of himself. at the game, he's a little off, unhinged. Listen to how offended he gets when Skip is kind of jabbing him about Tom Brady. He goes way off the deep end. Listen to Shannon Sharpe here go off on, this was also last year, right around football season. This is things when it really kind of went off hinge here. This was about Tom Brady and Shannon Sharpe getting into it over Tom Brady over some simple stuff. Listen up.
Still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
That's what you do.
That's the point.
That's what you do. Every time I call something into question, I'm jealous.
No.
Yeah, I did what I
never
did.
said you were jealous of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I
so
got 3
what?
Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
He's way better than you were.
I'm better than you.
Better.
I got to see what you do. You take personal shots.
No, I don't take personal shots. You started it.
Time out. You would take a personal shot at me.
I didn't take a personal shot at you.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
You would take a personal
Put your glasses back on.
Can I finish? You're willing to take a personal shot at me to say this man is better than me because I say he's playing bad this year?
Well, because you just
Go ahead.
you disrespect him. It's just so.
You
know what? It's beneath your
You would
dignity.
disrespect me to support him.
No, well, I'll support him over anybody because he's the greatest player ever played your game, and it's by
Have
far.
at it. Have at it.
Okay,
Take off,
I'm
bro.
going to have at it because I'm going to have at you.
And I mean, so Shannon Sharpe is really, he's unhinged, man. You know, those are just a few between that, the John Morant thing, and plus, this was a few weeks ago. That show, it comes on 6:30 a.m. LA time. It's out of LA. It's in Fox, and he's making a mixed drink on the air, and it was something to do. I think it was with Tatum scoring 50-something points. So he's making a mixed drink on the air. And Skip, and I didn't have this sound. I should have got the sound. But Skip's like, wow, that is strong. I could smell that over here. So part of me thinks that, you know, I've always liked Shannon Sharpe, but he's a little over the top, man. It almost sounds like he's got CTE or something. And, you know, I'm surprised he hasn't, like, knocked out Skip. Skip Bayless is 75 years old. He's been doing this for years. He used to go back and forth on First Take with Stephen A. Smith. They used to go, and nobody never really thought nothing. But Shannon's really getting ticked off about stuff, you know. Now, I think that was callous of what Skip said about the game and Hamlin dying and everything. But I do think Shannon is way over dramatic. He is just way too upset. It's sports. It's not that serious. Tom Brady, of course, Tom Brady has better accolades than you. He's a quarterback, and he's, he's the most decorated player of all time. He's got 7 rings. Why would he care if Skip Bayless said he was better than him? You know, I mean, why would he be that insecure to say that I can see that from a distance that it's shtick from Skip Bayless, a guy who never played, didn't play in the NFL. I mean, if I'm an NFL player, and I was on the show with Jim Jeffcoat the other day, and he snapped at the Philly sports guy on the show there, that the weekly show, because he was saying that the Dallas Stars in hockey wasn't that good, and Jim's getting all hyped up. But Jim knows that, you know, I'm the former player. I've played. You know, I've got the rings. I don't have to go by what you say, like Jack Hirsch would tease Jim about, maybe Dallas, they should have took a quarterback instead of you. That was not a good idea back in '83 in that first round. I mean, you know, you got to be the more secure. So I don't know what's up with Shannon Sharpe. He's tripping out right now. But that being said, he's got a following. I wouldn't have made a mixed drink at 6:30 in the morning. That's not my thing. And I think that may have been the last straw. Now, this as it came out, I'm just telling you my opinion. I think that may have been the last straw for him to say, okay, let's just end this thing. Maybe, and he's built up his following, Shannon Sharpe, and I do like some of what he's got to say, but I do think he is a little bit unhinged. Sometimes Pickles says, I can't see anybody stays in the studio. Skip Bayless, he's an egomaniac. He wants to accuse Troy Aikman of being gay in the 90s, and there was no proof of that. And I'm surprised Aikman didn't wring his neck for that. He follows nobody else on social media. He's a real egomaniac, and he argues with the players. But the thing about it is, like, why should I get upset what your opinion is? It's your opinion. That's my thing about the former players. Their skin is so thin because, like Jason Whitlock says, they've been pampered. Most of them been pampered their whole life. They're not used to getting any pushback. You know, I remember and I think it was Don Amish years ago. He says, how come I don't have to play to say that one guy sucked because I'm judging him against his peers, which is other players. So what difference does it make what my opinion is? Everybody has an opinion. Why are you getting so bent out of shape over my opinion? Let your stats, let your play, speak for itself. That's what kills me. I used to think, man, I wasn't a former player. I'm not going to have a good show. And the truth of the matter is a lot of former players are biased. They're afraid to throw another or criticize heavily another player because, well, I know what he's going through. He's going through X, Y, and Z. Hey, listen, it's one of those things where did I really have to play to say that you fumbled the ball 3 times or you throw 4 picks and you didn't look off the safety? Nah, it's right there. The film don't lie. The film will tell you if you're a good player or not. You don't have to worry about my opinion. They're like rear ends. Everybody's got one, right? So what difference does it make what my opinion is? So Pickle says, Don Meredith, and I think that was from Monday Night Football, to Howard Cosell, where did you play? Cosell was a lawyer, but here's the thing. Those guys usually are more interested than the former player. A lot of times the former player is too pro player. When you're too pro player, you really don't get an honest assessment. That's why some are saying that Peyton Manning is not getting offered a ton, and that's what I like about a guy as good as Troy Aikman was. He will call you out in a minute. He'll call out a Dallas Cowboy in a minute, and he don't mind the blowback. And buddy, he got a lot of blowback. A lot of people didn't like that. But hey, do you want to call balls and strikes, or do you want to be a cheerleader? Now, going back to the Damar Hamlin thing, I do empathize with what Sharpe was saying about his brother. His brother got an injury where he had to do an early retirement. It was a painful moment for him. He was temporarily paralyzed, what he said. Sharpe was an amazing player. I do emphasize there. That was a very hurtful, sad moment in the league that year with the Damar Hamlin thing last year. And it did play a part in Buffalo's probably demise. I was talking to John Bristano from Spitballing about this, and you're probably right. I know you're right. When you said that injury, that freak accident, plus the fact that Buffalo got snowed out of 2 games, they had to relocate twice. You throw in that with their other injuries is probably why Sean McDermott didn't get fired, because that was so heavy dealing with that. And, there was a lot of conspiracy theories when he first came out because he wasn't fully, you didn't see his face, but he was still under some kind of monitor. Now he's okay. I mean, he's going to try to get back in the league and stuff. And he's gotten some AEDs and CPR training and everything. So it's all going to work out. And I do think that, Skip was callous about that. But that's part of his shtick, is that being heavy opinionated, being pro Cowboys, everything, being pro Tom Brady, that the guy's been around for a long time. People follow him. I don't believe most of his stuff I say is bull crap. That I outpick him all the time. He still thinks the Heat are going to win the series here, but he's been wrong about a lot of stuff. He's rarely right. He's just animated, but that's his stick, that's his thing. Yeah, Pickle says Meredith was a Cowboy legend, and he said that to Howard Cosell. But Cosell's interesting, so you don't want everybody to be a former player, because it's going to be too lopsided, and more often than not, it's going to be too buddy. And somebody say, listen, man, the guy, hey, listen, he sucks, okay? That's why you hear a lot of former players take up for a guy like Lamar Jackson. Hey, man, he does this and that. Okay, well, how come all his receivers are trying to get out of town? I mean, come on, you want to call balls and strikes, or you want to take up for your fraternity there, your fraternity brother? I'm here to call balls and strikes, call it like I see it. So that being said, I know Skip Bayless is full of himself, but he's harmless. Either way, I thought that was interesting. So these guys will be done when the finals are done. I'm curious to see who they'll bring over, and maybe they'll try to hook him and Stephen A. Smith up. Stephen A. Smith, speaking of that, he's doing his own podcast. He's starting to get away from sports. I think, and this is something I'm going to throw in here, I think he's trying to go independent. He's a little irritated about McAfee making more money than him. He's like $17 million. I think he's probably forming his exit plan. He's going to try to go independent on his own too. So that's kind of like the new wave of sports right now. Thank you, Chad. I like to get in a good little feud here and there. So I'm trying to get. I want to thank Tempo Lee here. You got my outro there and my intro, Tempo. If you guys need anything for your programs, Tempo Lee's on my Facebook, man. Hope you're out there watching, Tempo. Appreciate it. He is on that. But anyways, I'm trying to get, let's see what this lady's name is. Nancy Lieberman. But she's not getting back to me, even though she saw my message. She is a coach for the Big Three, the Ice Cubes League, the 3-on-3 tournament. I think it starts later on at the end of this month after the finals here. The Big Three League. It's a pro league. It's a 3-on-3 tournament. It's really good. It comes on CBS. If she don't get back to me, I'm probably going to, have a few choice words here because I noticed, I don't know if it was her or if it was her assistant. I'm trying to pump up your lead, and these podcasts and stuff, these are the future. It's not other stuff. A lot of people are going independent, So anyways, if you guys like the show, share the show. I'll get back to you on that. I got a few opinions there. I think I'll hold back maybe until tomorrow. All right, I got an opinion about Jimmy Johnson and her, and I'm going to make sure and have a good segment set up for that coming up on tomorrow's program, folks. So again, if you like the show, share the show. I'll be back on tomorrow, same time and same place here on SportScope, and let's check out this outro.